Hey guys, so season 20 is over, and it was the closest last day I've ever played. So it went back and forth. I didn't know whether I was going to make legendary or not, and it seemed like I would, and then it seemed like I wouldn't, and it seemed like I would, and it went back and forth 3 or 4 times. And even after the season was over, I had no clue whether I made it or not. I didn't know. I thought probably I didn't make it until the next day. I found out I barely squeaked in 19th place out of 20. 20 people made it. So at the start of the season, I made a lot of mistakes. So I got walled a bunch of times. I underestimated how much gold people had. I underestimated how many troops they had because I hadn't played in 4 months, and things are different now. You can't, just because someone's lower level than you doesn't mean you can steamroll them, right? What matters now is not level, but territory. Even after they made the change back in experience to the original experience method, where it doesn't matter what league you're in, it only matters what your kingdom power is compared to the other guy's kingdom power. Level is only important really in the beginning of the season. So last season I attack way too much, and I attack people who I shouldn't have attacked, people who are stronger than me. And when you hit people who are stronger than you, they hit you back even harder. And so every night I would wake up with about 2/3 of my cities gone. And that would lead to me having to attack even more. And it's a vicious cycle. Basically, you start getting behind in troops. So when I finally realized what was happening, and that everybody had more troops than me, I realized that I would have to go recruiter for a long period of time. So I went into defense mode. I went recruiter probably 85% of the time for the last 2 weeks of last season, just to try to catch up. So going into the last day, I had about 13 billion troops. So it's a decent amount, but it was about average for top 20 players. So I decided to take a bunch of small cities the night before, and then I thought maybe I'd go without sleep. But then again, I didn't want to go without sleep and then still not make legendary. That would be the worst of both worlds, right? So I end up sleeping 4 hours. When I wake up, XX2 Good has taken all my small cities, so he'd already got about half of them. I thought, well, I could defend, but it would be risky to send troops over to cities that are far away and might already be his cities by the time my troops get there, even with the 3 times speed boost. So I decided to just give them up and focus on some inactive players to the west of me. I'd given up my own home island, which I've never done before. So basically, I couldn't compete with Loki. He had about twice as many troops as me by then. So I just made a truce with him and basically gave up most of my home island, because I thought maybe I could go all in the island west of me, and Banging Lang and Grudge were not that active. So maybe I could take most of that island, and that would give me a chance for top 20. So after I lost all these small cities, I was down to about 150 cities. It wasn't looking good, but at the start of the day, Bangin' Lang and Grudge were basically totally inactive. I was just taking every city with no resistance. With about 8 hours left in the season, Bangin' Lang started hitting back, and he started hitting back pretty hard because he had about the same number of troops as me, even though he's inactive for about 4 days. So that shows you how important it is to have high kingdom power. So before he went inactive, he had a higher kingdom power than me for most of the season. So he was probably in recruiter for a long time, and that's why we ended up with about the same number of troops. So he started hitting me back, and again, it looked like my chances at legendary had gone out the window. But out of desperation, I negotiated truce with them, and that put me back in the game again. Instead, I focused south of that island to the continent next to it, and I hit a few Clan of the Magi players, mainly TH Justin. So basically, I sent all my troops down there on a one-way trip, basically, right? Because there's only 4 hours left. I thought maybe this is just enough time for me to take just enough cities to squeak into legendary, but it is going to be close. So I was attacking constantly, sending reinforcements in waves of 900 million, sped up, because it takes an hour, even sped up. So there weren't a lot of trips left, but by the time I got across the continent, I was met by some resistance, 1, 2, 3 billion troops. They were sending troops in groups of 900 million too. So by the time they had 2 or 3 billion troops, it was too much for me to attack the big cities. I could only try to attack small cities before they could defend them, right? So just attacking small cities, I wasn't sure if it was enough because on the leaderboard, I was about 25th place before I started using all my gold. But I did have a lot of gold. I had 60 billion gold left going into the last hour of the season. But a lot of people also had a lot of gold. And gold is only good if you have a lot of small cities to spend it on. I didn't have a lot of small cities. I only had 15 small cities, although I was able to take them all above level 90, so that helped. But even right when the season ended, I still didn't know if I made it or not. I checked out all the other players around 20th place, and some of them had higher KP than me, some of them had lower KP than me, but I knew it would be close. So I didn't find out until the next day that I actually made it. So that was good. But the problem is there's a lot of luck involved in the item you're going to get. I ended up getting Shield of the Water God, which I already had, you know, I'm already using it. I've already gotten twice as legendary rewards. I got it back-to-back seasons when it was like a useless item. Now, because of jewelry, because it's a lot easier to max brave through items alone, it's useful, but I already had it upgraded to 3 stars, so it just saved me some stardust. So now in this new season, now I think I know what to do now. I'm not going to make the same mistakes I made last season. So this season I've already gotten off to a good start. So I started off, you know, attacking a lot because the first week you have attacking event basically. So you're going to attack, and attacking gets you gold, which is perfect because you're going to need it in the second event, which is walling people. So basically I attacked. Up until 2 days ago, I got my kingdom power up to about 3.5 million. And then I switched to full recruiter with a few points in brave to max it. So from full attack to full defense. So I actually had to wake up in the middle of the night a couple times to defend in order to keep my kingdom power up, because when you're in full recruiter, the key is to keep your kingdom power up. The worst thing that could happen is that you lose a bunch of cities right when you switch into full recruiter, which forces you to switch back to striker again. So I didn't want to do that. So basically after 2 days, my kingdom power is even a little bit higher than what it started at. Now I'm at about 3.7 million kingdom power, and I've been generating a ton of troops. Almost 400 million troops a day just from recruiter. So when I started 2 days ago, I had 580 million troops. I leveled once on defense, and then combined with recruiter, now I have almost 1.6 billion troops. So it's been a very successful stint of recruiter. I'm about ready to switch back to striker. So I think the best way to do it is to switch. For most people, you know, if you're on a gem budget like I am, respec about twice per week, starting at the second week. That's what I do, because I start my first respec right before the wall event starts. So I go recruiter, and then I defend, and then I'm going to respec back to striker for the clan event, which will also get my kingdom power up, which will also help for the wall event, because the more you attack, the more you're going to defend, because when you attack, people will attack you back. So when the one problem with being on recruiter right now is that I'm not walling a lot of troops. I've only walled 1 billion troops so far in the first 2 days. I think I can still get to 8 billion, but I won't get to 20. But, you know, I don't think I would have got to 20 anyway. The worst thing you can do is try to get to 20 and then just come a little bit short, and then you made all those attacks for nothing, because like I said, you don't want to over attack. Attack is costing you elsewhere, because when you're attacking, you're not on recruiter. So unless you have a hybrid build, but also when you have a hybrid build, you're going to lose a lot of troops. You're going to get walled sometimes, and you're going to lose a lot of troops just because your attacks won't be as overwhelming. So basically, you don't want to attack more than you need to. You should pick a tier on the event and just stick to that tier, and you have to make sure you get it. So for me, that's going to be 8 billion. So anyway, after I switch back to striker, I'm going to switch back to recruiter again during the perfect time to do recruiter, which is the recruiter event, because not only do you need it for the event, but everybody else is going to be doing the same thing. So all the top players are going to be on recruiter, so there's no one left to attack you really. So that's the easiest time to keep your kingdom power up. Okay, so yeah, that's it for this video. Make sure you subscribe and like my videos, and I'll have more videos coming soon.